waited all winter for this.
It's the biggest race we have all year long.
The icons of this sport have all starred on its biggest stage.
It's the great American race. Trust me.
I won the Daytona 500. I won the Daytona 500.
Pull them belts tight one last time, boys. Light the fire.
Big push coming now for Harvick. Oh, and around goes a couple cars. Priest upside down. He's barrel rolling through the grass.
You got plenty of money. Don't need that to keep racing. Is it worth the risk to keep on going?
Sure, to win.
Like long build-ups and disappointing drops. We 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 like long build-ups and disappointing drops.
Oh, yeah. Welcome to the Bump and Run podcast. I'm your host, Michael D. White, joined by one of my best friends, Matt the Statman Reilly. Eric Daytona Ron couldn't make it tonight. He's a victim of his own party, still hungover on a Tuesday night. But I hope you had a great weekend. Hope you had yourselves a Christopher Bell type of weekend.
Screw that. I hope you had yourselves a Boston Celtics type of weekend.
Oh, there you go, man.
I'm here to talk about basketball.
Welcome to the Bump and Rush podcast. Or no, the rushing wouldn't be a basketball term. I don't know any basketball terms. I'm sorry.
That's all right. The Bounce Pass podcast, we could do that.
Oh, there we go. Welcome to the Bounce Pass podcast, your number one source for Boston Celtics news and information. It's playoff basketball time, and Matt the Statman Reilly all fired up, wearing his green and white. Matt,
the sport that doesn't disappoint me.
Well, not in recent years, but being a Celtics fan, it wasn't always the easiest, right? In the early 2000s and whatnot.
It's true. It's true. Out of all my sports teams, though, the Celtics have been the one that's given me the most reward back, I think. Well, the Penguins, too. The Penguins.
I was going to say the Penguins.
I've gotten 3 championships out of them.
The Penguins are in a rough spot right now, though, aren't they?
Right now, yeah. They're down bad right now. They're kind of like Eric.
Is it like they have the players, they just keep getting injured every season?
They're old. They're an older squad. Yeah. I don't know if I have faith in the coach anymore. But hey, we're not here to talk about the Pittsburgh Penguins, baby, because the Boston Celtics are in the NBA Finals.
Yeah. So they're locked into the finals. When does that happen? Yep. This weekend or?
Nope. So Western Conference finals are still going on. That could end tonight if the Mavericks win. They can also sweep their opponent, the Minnesota Timberwolves. And then no matter what, though, first game is next Thursday. So we have a little over a week.
A little resting area.
Which is fine for me. Now, screw the players. Yeah. I'm worried about my health. These games are starting at 8 or 8:30, and yeah, that's late for someone with a 1.5-year-old brother.
How long does the average basketball game take? Like 2.5, 3 hours?
About 3 hours.
Yeah. So, man, it's like night racing every Thursday or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
Which
it's hard. It's hard.
Which if only we start the Coke 600 at like 5 o'clock.
If only they knew that there was going to be a storm ripping through the area around 9 o'clock.
Yeah, it is what it is, though.
They did. They did know.
Well, you want to know what though? You know what though? We did see exciting racing up on the chip because of it. Everyone thought we were going to go back racing so they could get Kyle Larson back on track.
We're going to get into it.
But before we do, make sure you like, share, subscribe, tell all your friends, do all that stuff. Again, we're down one man, Daytona Ron, but it was a hell of a party. I think we'll talk about that a little bit too. But we'll probably rush through this one. Jump right into the NASCAR news.
Some big news. Big news that happened just a couple hours ago.
Yeah,
huge news.
Huge news. Right now, the Charlotte Roval being reconfigured just a little bit. Can't believe it.
Yep. No, that's the news I'm referring to.
Yeah, I have 3 quick stories to get to before that. But one story, this is just a feel-good story. I saw it during the truck race, and I'm like, man, I have to shed some light on that guy in case that no one saw it. Truck crew chief from the number 2 car, Chris Showalter. celebrated his 700th start on Friday in the Truck Series. He has started every Truck Series race since the beginning. Since the first,
that.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Right?
He's just been a Truck Series regular since the very beginning.
Yep. He's been in the Truck Series since the first race in Phoenix in 1995. Has been doing it for almost 30 years now. Big congratulations to Chris Showalter. And you want to know what? During his interview during the truck race, he had a lot of emotion. You could tell he really loves it. And so yeah, just a great feel-good story. 700 starts. It seems weird though. You would think for a series that's been around for 30 years that 700 there'd be more starts than 700.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I guess like early on, how many truck races were there in a season?
Yeah,
Probably
right.
like 15 or something like that.
20 maybe. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Not a lot. I mean, they don't have a lot now.
So big congratulations to Chris Showalter. Hell of a career and still going too. And then let's see whatchamacallit. Like I said, Charlotte Motor Speedway is going to reconfigure the Roval ahead of the Bank of America Roval 400 this year. I saw the layout online. I'll retweet it if I remember after the show, but it looks pretty interesting. You know, when they go into the infield, it was kind of like a loop, and then you'd come out into one
behind the pit road, and then swung back around towards turn 2. I guess that would have been.
And then it kind of made like a T shape back to loop out near pit road and then out to turn 1.
Yep.
Well, what they've done in that area, instead of having it a tight kind of square circle, they've extended into a nice sweeping long straights down a straightaway.
I haven't even seen it, so this is news to me.
Yeah, and then down right, and then a really sharp, almost like super technical turn where I want to say it's like less than 15 degrees of a turn to get back onto the track into turn 1. So it'll definitely slow things down going into turn 1, but it might create some more opportunities for passing on those long straightaways into the turns. So I'm excited just to see it, just to see what happens there. I'll try to tweet that out on Twitter. I'll send it to you too, Matt, so you can see it.
Yeah, I want to see that.
I think you'll like it. It looks like some nice long straights, kind of like you would see at Watkins Glen. So, looking forward to that. And then another piece, I thought that was pretty interesting. Dale Jr. Foundation hit 1 million followers on Instagram, and then they announced that they're going to send out $1 million grant program across the country. They picked cities that they had the most followers in. Yeah. And they're donating $100,000 to local charities in each one of those cities, and really great charities too, like food banks and women and children shelters, those types of things, like children outreach type charities. So $100K to 10 different charities across the country, all thanks to Dale Jr. So I got to give a big congratulations on him.
Yeah.
That Dale Jr. man of the people, man of the sport. Can't wait to hear what he thought about the Charlotte, the Coke 600 or the Coke. What was it 373.5? Was that what the number was?
Yeah.
And then let me see if I could get the let's see, ABC breaking news theme. Because we got some hot off the presses news right now.
Yeah.
I'm Peter Jennings with an ABC News alert. I think Peter Jennings.
I'm a David Muir guy. I like the current dude, David Muir on World News Tonight.
I like David Muir too. He leans to the one side, which I think is weird. I don't know if that's like a little crutch of his or not, but I do appreciate the job he did. That was the 80s theme, and I think Peter Jennings was the host in the 80s, right? Or was he?
I think so.
Right. So, but yeah, big fan of David Muir. I don't know. There's something about him. He's got those intense eyes that you're like, I could trust what this guy's saying.
I trust this news. Yeah.
Right?
He's very unbiased, very unopinionated. He just gives you the facts.
Yeah. He goes, there's been a bombing in wherever, and that's it. So I appreciate David Muir too. I'm a big fan of ABC Nightly News. And you want to what? Fucking Inside Edition sucks me into right after.
Dude, right after, because it's nightly news, the local news at 7, and then Inside Edition at 7:30. We're so old. We're so washed up.
Dude,
we're so washed up, man. One of our guys on our team, the Bump and Run team, is down right now. Didn't make it onto the podcast because of how washed up we are.
Oh, that reminds me. So but let's talk about the weekend a little bit. We got to talk about the party. So me and Matt had the plan. We're going to leave about halfway through, catch the rest of the race at home. That way we remembered everything and we were fresh for the podcast. Matt left it halfway through. I was like, nah, man, I'll find another ride because the beers are flowing. You're having a good time, you know?
I was in such a vibe. I was having such a good evening that I got into my Uber and the Uber driver was playing Hispanic music. And if you know me, like, I don't think I've ever listened to Hispanic music for more than it takes to sit down at a Mexican restaurant. But man, I was feeling it. And it was just a good vibe the whole way. Man, I don't know. What am I from Eric's house? 10 minutes, maybe a 10-minute Uber ride home.
About that, yeah.
And and got home, and I'm like, swing open the door. My beautiful bride is sitting there waiting for me. She's got the race on, ready to go for me. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to see some great racing here. Pop myself open a beer, and
yeah.
Then the air got taken out.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk all about it. I was feeling good watching the race, drinking beers, having a good time with the boys. I didn't want to leave.
I didn't either. I would have been. I'd still be there if I could have.
Yeah. So I think I left probably an hour after you did, though. I didn't even know we were in rain delay at that point. Like I missed that part of the race, and I came back into the garage to say goodbye to everyone. Tyler Regg's being interviewed on like a Zoom cam. I'm like, what the fuck? What? Oh man, I gotta get home. And our buddy Brandon took me home. I was slurring my words worse than I have in years. Felt really bad. Felt bad about myself. And then I passed out on the couch when I got home. And I woke up at 1:30 in the morning to Modern Family on TV. And I got really disappointed in myself because I'm like, fuck, I missed the end of the race. And then I woke up the next morning even more angry, sad, and disappointed because there was no end of the race.
There wasn't an end. Yeah.
But what I was going to say, Eric, rough shape. He was out playing yard games. I think he saw maybe an eighth of the race. He was a good host, though. I will tell you, though, our buddy Bubba, who was in town for the weekend, he texted us at 3:30 yesterday afternoon and go, yo, Eric, how did those meatballs turn out last night? Now, I don't know if you were there for the discussion or if you remember, but Eric was talking about making Swedish meatballs, right? He never started them. And at 10:30 at night, he still hadn't started them when I was leaving. But apparently by the time Bubba left, I don't know what time Bubba left, probably 11. I would say Bubba left before midnight. But when he went to say goodbye, Eric was chopping up onions to make these Swedish meatballs. And according to our friend Luke, who definitely stayed for the whole entire party, he said they were phenomenal. So I don't know.
So Swedish meatballs were. I missed Swedish meatballs.
Yeah, but I don't know how long Swedish meatballs take to be made necessarily. But I'm assuming that party went until late night, at least 2, 3, 4 in the morning.
I don't even know. To guess that's probably a good. Yeah, 2, 3 in the morning, I would assume. Yeah.
So Eric hasn't talked to us since in our group chat or our Twitter messages. I checked Twitter too to see, because it'll tell you like if he didn't see any of those tweets, he didn't see any of the race really. I went back, I watched the replay today to get an idea to rate and review this race again, and I thought it was great. So, but first. We didn't even get to the breaking news. What a tangent we went on from ABC Nightly News back to the party. Hold on.
We're off the rails. It's a Tuesday show. Well, listen. Any viewer that listens to us knows that it's a Tuesday show. It's going to be off the rails. We're having fun. We're catching up. We're catching everyone up to speed with our weekend. It was Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah.
Memorial Day weekend, it's supposed to be, to remember those who paid the ultimate sacrifice. And they paid the ultimate sacrifice so Eric could pay the ultimate
sacrifice today. Yeah. So he didn't make it to work today. He had the day off yesterday and today, and he slept all day long. But back to the breaking news. We just got word after much speculation of what was going on with Stewart Haas Racing. We have a formal announcement, and I will bring it up now, just to read what the guys of Stewart and Haas announced today, because at the end of the year, at the end of the season, Stewart Haas Racing will be no more, and
RIP.
Yeah, rip Stu SHR. So this is the quote. This is a joint statement from Tony Stewart and Gene Haas, the co-owners of Stewart Haas Racing. Quote, "We have made the difficult decision to close Stewart Haas Racing at the conclusion of the 2024 season. It is a decision that did not come easy, nor was it made quickly. Quote, racing is a labor-intensive, humbling sport. It requires unwavering commitment and vast resources with a 365-day mindset to be better than everyone else." I can't read because I'm still a little hungover today too. "It's part of what makes success so rewarding, such and such. We're proud of our wins, our championships, yada, yada, yada." Basically 300 people out of a job at the end of the season. And there are 4 charters up for sale. And according to Bob Pockris, we have 3 players looking at them. 2311 wants to acquire one. Front Row Motorsports wants to acquire one. And Trackhouse Racing is looking to acquire a 3rd charter themselves. The 4th charter, still up in the air. No one knows what or where, what team would be possible. Bob Pockris said he talked to Dale Jr. last week, and it's not in the cards for Junior Motorsports, which is disappointing for us as fans, I think. And let's see, what else did he say? Legacy Motorsports might be interested in expanding. I don't think they should this early on. And then I think Spire might be in the mix too. A lot of people want Roush Fenway Keselowski Racing to get one. RFK. Brad Keselowski tweeted, he goes, "We don't have the $30 million. A friend said to start a GoFundMe." So I thought that was a great response by Brad, but it looks like a 4th charter won't be or a 3rd charter for RFK. Off the rails.
Off the rails. So a couple things. I was listening. I don't know if you got a chance to start Door Bumper Clear yet, but Chris Rice is on.
I didn't. Yeah.
Chris Rice is on this week, president of Colleague Racing, if for anyone who doesn't know who that is. And I guess they were recording right before this announcement was made, but they were kind of speculating because they had known, once you get to it, you'll hear, they knew that SHR was meeting, as today. They were recording. Yeah. And they weren't sure what was going to come out of that meeting, but they were surmising what everyone else thought already. And Brett Griffin asked Chris Rice, what happens to those employees, or when can you start approaching them? And he's pretty much immediately, they have their contract to the end of the season, obviously, but
they can talk to him today.
Ronnie Childers is the best top 3,
I would say,
in the whole garage. He's a free agent right now.
Yeah.
So is his driver, Josh Berry. So is Noah Gregson, Chase Briscoe, Priest. These guys, Greg Zipadelli, he's been with SHR forever. He's a hot commodity that, they're pit.
Cole Custer in the Xfinity Series.
Yeah, Cole Custer
for the Xfinity Series, though, he's going to be a top prospect for the Xfinity Series.
True. That's true. They're pit crew members, all the men and women in the front office and back who work the garage. There's going to be a lot of people, like you said, 300 people that are going to be free to grab, and a lot of them will be scooped up.
Yeah.
So that's good to hear. And Chris Rice even said, he's it's going to be uncomfortable for them for a couple of weeks until they figure out what they're going to be doing next year. But he's a lot of those folks will land on their feet.
Absolutely. You know who I feel I want to say the worst for, but I feel bad for Chase Briscoe kind of the most right now, because he was on the morning drive this morning on SiriusXM NASCAR radio. They interviewed him. Do you know his wife is pregnant with twins right now?
Yeah, yep.
Like, could you imagine like
the
the amount
uncertainty of financial income when you're about to have two
twins,
kids? Yeah.
and you already have a son and like a family to support the way it is? Like, I know these guys make way more money than we even know or probably could imagine they do. I don't think Chase Briscoe's making as much as like a high end guy, but like, I don't, what's his financials like? Is he set up where he, like, is he living under his means to make sure he's all right? Like, I don't know.
I'm sure, like, he doesn't come off as a stupid guy to me. Like, I'm sure that he's going to be okay. He's going to land on his feet. I mean, Chase Briscoe is going to have a Cup Series ride next year, so he'll be fine, But like, what happens with Mahindra? What happens with all these other sponsors that are under the Stewart Haas umbrella? Do they go and invest elsewhere? Do they go with their driver? What happens?
I tell you what, a lot of this, like, I don't want to speculate too much, but like, I'm not surprised at any of this, especially over the offseason. Do you remember how, like, every other day we were sending messages like, oh, SHR lost another sponsor. They lost this sponsor to Trackhouse. They lost this sponsor to 2311. Like,
dude, we've been saying, if you've been paying attention on this podcast, the three of us have been saying for years now, like, Tony Stewart's spinning too many plates. He's not there.
Oh, yeah.
Kevin Harvick made the comment last week about, it's nice to see when he was practicing for Hendrick, it's nice to hear from the owner twice in a month or whatever he said.
Yeah.
So like, obviously, like, Tony's, like, it's no surprise, like, Tony hasn't been there, and in their statement they even said, like, it takes a full commitment, and obviously it wasn't there. Gene Haas is doing his F1 deal, so like, yeah, I mean, they spread themselves too thin. Now listen, not my business to run, but like, obviously the commitment wasn't there from the top, and that all just trickles down, and it's been showing the past couple of years on the racetrack, that the success just hasn't been there. Spotty maybe, but it just hasn't been there. And so, I mean, all the writing, there was a ton of smoke on this one, so it's not surprising at all, today's news. But now that it's official, what next? What are the next steps? And that's, this is the launch of, like,
we're going to see
season.
so much.
Who goes to 2311? Who goes to Front Row Motorsports that are picking up these charters? Is Josh Berry going to go to 2311? Is he going to go to Front Row? Where does that leave Noah Gragson? Noah Gragson already had a relationship once with Toyota. Does that mean 2311 is going to want to scoop him up? Like,
yeah.
A lot of questions out there.
Do they have someone waiting in the wings like Corey Heim in the Truck Series? Like there's a lot of unknowns. And it's
that's another great point. Sorry to cut you off, but like, this affects people in the pipeline for some of these other companies that are gonna have they're gonna have 4 free agent NASCAR Cup Series drivers who have all won races. Well, Noah hasn't won a Cup Series race yet, but
he's been running really strong. He's been running strong enough to been running strong enough to want to keep him in a Cup ride. I think he's definitely proved himself this season more than last season.
Josh hasn't won a Cup Series race either, but again, capable of doing it.
Yeah,
capable of doing it.
I think just got their first top 10. It was this week, right?
Yep, he came in 10th at the Coke 375
and a half or whatever.
Yeah.
Whatchamacallit? Shit. I lost
Cole Custer. Pretty series. Oh, Corey Heim.
No, it wasn't that. Shit.
Sorry, I cut you off there.
That's okay. I cut you guys off all the time, so
it's part of it, man.
Yeah, it is. Shit. What? I don't know. Just unfortunate, I guess. Fuck, man.
Sponsors, the front office people.
I know. Before that, I was thinking like, oh, I wonder how much Kevin Harvick leaving really had to do with some of these sponsors jumping and stuff like that. Front office people waiting in the wings, getting Cup Series starts. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, now I remember. It's funny that the first domino we saw was a couple weeks ago. Michael McDowell leaving Front Row Motorsports. They're looking to acquire a charter. I also heard like during that time and I forget where I heard it, that certain drivers might be guaranteed certain rides at places. You know what I mean? Where like, and this is speculation, but like say like Chase Briscoe has a deal with Ford and he has to go to Front Row Motorsports or something like that. I don't know if that's true.
We heard something about Chase Briscoe going to Front Row a couple weeks ago. I think when the whole McDowell thing went down, I think people were talking about, that's Chase Briscoe's going to go to Front Row.
Yeah.
Where does Josh go? Does he go back to Xfinity, or is there going to be a spot open for him? You know what?
But that's the thing. Did they announce who's replacing Michael McDowell in that 34 car? I don't think they did. I think they just announced that he was going to Spire, So we could assume like, maybe Spire, one of those guys is leaving to go over Front Row. I don't think so. Maybe who's in the 77?
Zane Smith.
Zane Smith. I think Zane Smith isn't, but he's on loan from Trackhouse.
Hocevar.
No, it's Zane Smith. So he's on loan from Trackhouse right now. Yeah. So maybe that's that charter they're looking for on that one. But also, I'm pretty sure this is a contract year for Daniel Suarez. And I don't know if he's signed yet either. There's a lot of moving pieces. And this just created a whole entire puzzle to move around. You remember when you were a kid, you had those little picture puzzles where it was like 8 sliding things, but 9 spots, and you had to rearrange them? Yeah. We're going to be doing that for the rest of the season with this news. This is a huge shakeup. I'm excited. I feel terrible.
I love this stuff. I love this stuff.
Me too. I feel terrible for the organization and all the people and all that stuff, but it is very exciting to see where the pieces will land.
Do they auction all that? I guess let me back up a second. Is Gene Haas going to keep his F1 deal?
I don't know. I'm assuming he's going to stick with F1. It seems like that's where most of their focus goes these days anyways. And it seems like they actually get most of their advertising worth in F1 more versus NASCAR. I saw some people
just going to be out of NASCAR altogether.
Yeah. I keep seeing speculation that it's like, it all went south when they took away the race from Eldora. Do you think that really played a hand in any of this?
I know Tony's a self-admitted petty guy.
Yeah, he is. And he was real pissed off about it. So
he was really pissed off about it. Yeah.
It's just crazy that they could go from championship contenders just 4 years ago to like a shell. And now they were shell last year with the exception of Harvick. And now on the year that it seems like they're having an upswing. We've seen good performance out of Noah Gragson. We've seen pretty good runs out of Chase Briscoe the last few weeks or so. And we've seen good runs developing out of Josh Berry. The only one at Stewart Haas that isn't really doing much is
Ryan Preece.
And like, it seemed like he already knew he was on the way out to begin with. I mean, a couple weeks ago, we heard about, the 3 of those guys having their study halls or meetings or whatever. And he didn't even know they were happening. So like, I don't know, man, fucking what a day. This is crazy news.
It's crazy. It's just going to trickle down. It's going to be wild the next couple. Oh, and I don't know if it's in the news or not, but the charter deal, I think so. Chris Rice said like, we've been having some positive, like it's getting close. It's getting really close. Yeah.
No, it's getting close. I haven't read much of an update lately, but I saw like the kind of the same thing on Twitter and stuff like that. So it's going to get interesting. I want to know too, where does that 4th charter go? Because it seems like whenever there's a charter for sale and no one ends up picking up, Spire's just the default. So like
it really does,
right?
That's another thing. God, I try not to listen to DBC before we record because I try not to steal their stuff. What we're doing here is different than what they're doing on their podcast, but so interesting tidbits are always on that podcast. That's why I listen to it. And Chris Rice did mention something about investors and why Spire is starting to like take off the way they are is because of like they have like an investor in that. Like you have to listen to it. I'm not.
So there's a really interesting I want to say it's the Business of Motorsports with Kelly. a couple weeks ago, they had a high-level guy from Spire on to talk about it. And they started as like a sports management company and stuff.
Yep.
And they have that whole company separated, but I think they're kind of like funding each other kind of, you know? So yeah, they have big corporate investors. So.
You know who the investor might be?
What's that?
Big investor, big money.
Who?
Not buying a charter. Not interested in buying a charter. Dale Jr. Because they kept saying like, oh, they've got an investor already over there at Spy. Like you have to listen to it, and I could be completely like recklessly speculating, but like Junior seemed pretty hot on Spire to begin the season. He knew something that nobody else did.
Yeah, I mean, he might be putting money in, and maybe that's why Kelly Earnhardt Miller had him on her podcast.
One of his best friends and former crew chiefs, has a little stake. I don't know if it's a stake, but has some sort of role over there at Spire.
So if you watch the USA documentary they made 2 seasons ago, they showed him in the Spire shop with Corey LaJoie, and they labeled him as like a technical advisor or something.
Yeah, exactly.
So he had some sort of advisory role, and again, with the way Dale Jr. was talking to earlier in the season, it would make tons of sense that he does have some sort of stake in it. But I just assumed it was like big money type corporate hedge fund guys.
Right,
who are investing in Spire.
It's probably not Dale Jr. It's probably some sort of big corporate hedge fund dude. Yeah,
that's to me, it's likely. But at the same time, there's a little bit of smoke there where it's like, why is Dale Jr. so high on Corey LaJoie all the time? Yeah. Who, by the way, self-spun, finished 31st this week?
Trash.
Oh no, sorry, he finished 35th. His teammate, his teammate Carson Hocevar finished 21st, and that's why I got confused. So, if I was Dale Jr. and I was an investor in Spire, if I was, and if he is, I would keep Hocevar over LaJoie any day of the week. But anyways, yeah, that's the Stewart Haas news. We'll keep you updated, but yeah, that broke today. Everyone was waiting kind of on this word, kind of all already knew it was going to happen. Just really, really looking forward to seeing where all the pieces fall. You have anything else left to add to that?
Not really. I mean, it'll be interesting to see. Well, I don't want to get into maybes. I was going to say there's some other contracts that might be coming up here shortly too at the end of this year, but there's going to be a lot of moving pieces. You know, I think we're very, very far from being done hearing about, you know, the trickle down effect of this.
Yeah, I don't think so either. So we'll keep you updated every week whenever we hear something or we see some rumors. We need Private Porno 69 on Twitter to come back and start revealing stuff, which I'm sure she will. I bet you she will be real active in the next couple.
I need to get her as a guest on the show, even if it's under like a cloak of darkness
with like the voice muffler and stuff.
I don't know if we have that technology. I could just
could. I could do it. I could figure it out. Whatchamacallit, maybe we should tweet at them and let them know. But we do have a NASCAR weekend to talk about, and we saw some great racing. Not gonna lie, Truck Series race I thought was pretty good. Matt, did you see any of it at all?
Friday night?
Yeah.
Dude, Friday night may as well have been 4 years ago.
Yeah, I caught the last stage, and I barely remember it. The only thing I remember is Nick Sanchez won, and Corey Heim had one of the worst pit stops of all time I've seen, where the guy literally had the gun on the lug nuts, and he went to take off. I don't know how the guy didn't lose his hand in that whole issue, and then he got disqualified at the end.
I remember seeing that. I remember, yeah, I watched it, I guess.
Yeah.
I remember that.
I think we were texting about it on Friday night, but I don't know. I couldn't remember if it was you or if it was Eric.
No,
or
I was watching it.
Or if I was texting into the void, because,
right.
Dude, I just remembered he texted me. Do you remember texting me on Sunday outside of the group chat? Where it was 10:48. You go, we're going back racing soon. And then 10:55. Keep your ass up. I need someone to talk to during race. And then 11:26, just Michael. And then at 1:38 in the morning, I go, sorry, bud, I passed out, real disappointed in myself. So
Yeah, because I knew I must have like deductive reasoning here, knowing myself while drunk. Is like, I knew I wasn't going to get Eric. Like Eric probably wasn't within 100 feet of his cell phone.
No.
And so, I enjoy talking to someone during the race. My old man's definitely sleeping by then, Yeah. And it didn't matter anyway.
Yeah. At least you tried, though, man. At least you tried. You put
Michael, I hit you with the Michael.
Like a fucking half hour later, too. Which means you're still up and ready to go.
Yeah,
so
we'll get into it.
Yeah.
It goes into why I'm so pissed off.
But yeah, Nick Sanchez got the win. I believe that's his second career win. So big congratulations to him. And then we had an Xfinity Series race on Saturday. I was in and out between like radio and television, just picking up bits and pieces. But I heard it was a great one. Chase Elliott won by kind of a great pit call.
Oh, you know what? Friday night, we were at the baseball game.
Okay.
We stayed for the fireworks after, which was a bad idea with a 1.5-year-old.
Yeah.
So I did get home to see
right at the end, and that's when we were texting about it at the end a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then Saturday night.
So Saturday was a day race. It was at like 1:00 or so.
Yard work. I think I was cutting grass and stuff like that.
Yeah, because I remember texting you guys after I left the radio station after I was recording some stuff, and
we spent all weekend outside, so
it was too nice of a weekend to be cooped up, to be honest with you. But Chase Elliott won. Apparently, I forget who was on the pit box for him. Shit.
It was Greg. Was it?
Greg Ives. So Greg Ives was on the pit box for him, and whatchamacallit, saved a set of tires early on. Everyone pitted early on for tires, and he didn't. So by the time everyone ran out of tires at the end of the race, Chase Elliott had a fresh set, drove through the field, and got the win in the Xfinity Series. And even he said, he's like, man, it's been a while since I won the Xfinity Series. So congratulations to Chase Elliott. And then at the Cup race, CBell, he led 6 times for 90 laps. We saw 7 cautions for 46 laps. Unfortunately, that last caution was for rain, and we never got back on the track. 21 lead changes among 10 different drivers. Your top 5 was Christopher Bell, Brad Keselowski, William Byron, Tyler Reddick, and Denny Hamlin. And Tyler Reddick kept the streak alive. He's never finished outside the top 10 in the Coke 600 in his career. So big congratulations to my boy, Tyler Reddick, coming from a lap down in the back to do it too.
There's nothing to worry about.
Yeah, no, but you want to, it just sucks. Man, does it suck that we didn't get back on track, because he definitely had a car that could have won too. Man, he was so good in traffic and out front. Fucking A. Anyways, I know. Well, I have a race grade. I know you probably don't. So I'm just going to go with the racing that I saw on Sunday was an A. Am I mad, sad, and disappointed we didn't see 600 miles? Abso-fucking-lutely. It was devastating. I was so just distraught, angry yesterday that they never got back on track. But I watched the race again today, and it was excellent from front to back. If it was front to middle, if it was a 400 miler at Charlotte, and it ended that early, it wouldn't have mattered, and we would have thought it was a great race. Yeah, the first stage was great. We saw a lot of great battles with guys trying to get back on the lead lap. Second stage, we saw some great battles throughout the field, and it's just a shame we didn't see a race. But I voted no on the Jeff Gluck poll yesterday. Today, I'm taking it back, and I'm giving the racing we saw an A. That's my opinion. But Matt, I know you share a little bit of a different opinion, and I completely understand why, and I respect it. So what are you going with?
I agree with what we saw was an A race. I was sitting there, and I was telling our buddy Bernie and Joe Vav, we were watching the race, and I remember saying, this is great racing right now. I was really into it, which is why I'm so, I don't know if angry is the right word, but like I'm
just disappointed.
deflated.
Yeah,
Like
deflated.
it took a whole bunch of the wind out of the sails.
We were
I gave it an eye for incomplete because, like you just said, made a great point. If it was a 400 miler, all right, well, we made it almost all the way, but that's not what the Coke 600 is about. Coke 600 is about man versus machine, right? It's about the longest race of the season. It's about the most points earned throughout a race. It's all this pomp and circumstance. It's the home track for all these teams. And I just like, listen, I know we've seen 100 rain shortened races in the past, but this one felt different.
Yeah.
And I was just really, really disappointed, it just the whole, like everything that went into it, with NASCAR saying that, yeah, we're going to go back racing, and everyone on Twitter and the industry, like, dude, there's teams,
so much confusion.
Teams out there drinking coffee, getting meals in them, taking naps.
Christopher Bell was napping in his motorhome, and he just woke up.
Everyone was preparing to go back racing another 200 miles, and out of nowhere, like it seemed like out of nowhere, they pulled the rug out from underneath us. Now, I know there's reports Jordan Bianchi said on the teardown he was at the track, that the racetrack wasn't ready. I saw pictures, a bunch of different pictures from fans posting that
it looked like it was
contrary to what Bianchi is saying. But again, Bianchi, I think, has earned enough credit where, I'm not going to discredit what he's saying. He was there. I wasn't. So what do I know? But from everything that I saw, like that track looked ready. Now, I know there was another report, like there were fans that were, if you like looked into Twitter, there were fans that were from the track saying like they never deployed the
jet dryers on and
jet
stuff.
Dryers, which means they gave a half-ass effort to even attempt to dry the track. I know there were pictures from the parking lot where fans just went to sit in their cars to get out of the rain, but nobody left the track. Like everybody, like the competitors were ready, the fans were ready, and they just pulled the rug out from underneath us. And I don't know. It's anyone who's watched NASCAR for long enough knows that the second half of the 600 is typically when the real racing takes place.
Yeah.
Not to discredit anything we saw, not to discredit Christopher Bell leading 90 laps, but it's a whole different animal those last 300 miles and compared to the first 300 miles. And we just never got to see that story unfold. And so I gave it an incompletion because, yeah, like you said, Reddick had a fast car, but was it going to be fast the last 100 miles, the last 150?
Yeah.
Well, Christopher Bell led 90 laps. Oftentimes we see people, besides Martin Truex that one year who just dominated the entire race. Oftentimes, no, that wasn't even because I'm a fan. I'm just saying.
That was a rough one to watch. I remember that Coke. Yeah. That was not a good Coke 600 to watch.
But most of the time, it heats up those last 50, 100 miles of that race.
You have pit road troubles.
Class of characters. Every year you hear them say around the halfway mark, hey, listen, if you guys running 12th or 15th or 20th right now, be patient because he may be in the top 10 before you know it. If he's throwing down hot laps now and he has a good car, just be patient because once this track changes, the temperature comes down, it's going to make a difference and it's going to change. And a lot of cars were set up for that long haul of a race. Yeah. And we just never got to see it. And so, I don't know, all of that accumulated into me just having just real salty feelings towards the whole ordeal. Not to mention, like,
the whole Larson piece,
I don't know when it happened for me, but like the 600 is one of my favorite races of the year. It wasn't always like that. I don't know if it's because Eric throws the traditional party and we all get together and that has something to do with it. But
I don't even think it's that. I think just like the Coke 600 the last couple of years with the next gen car has just been one of the best races of the year. I don't even think the party even factors into it. I would say like we were so fired up and then like instantly fired down, and I think we were getting fired up because like the anticipation and everything, where I think were we talking about it before the race or was I talking to someone else where I'm like, I think I'm getting more excited for the Coke 600 every year than I am for the Daytona 500.
Yeah. Yep. And I kind of agree with that. I don't know. It's just, it's like the whole day. And then like not going to lie, like the Indy 500 getting delayed and like the whole Larson ordeal. We haven't even talked. This might have been the first time one of us said Larson's name today. Like the whole Larson ordeal, like that deflated a bubble. Like it's just like, it was just such a disappointing day, man. Like, but that's the other thing too with Larson. It's like, it was like out of a movie. You know, it's the rain delay, but here
The
they come
helicopters
back from
coming down.
helicopters coming in, and you hear people cheering, and it's like you see him getting ready and getting himself fitted and everything. And it's like, holy shit! Like I got chills.
Yeah.
It wasn't the 35 beers that I drank. It was the idea that like Larson's going to get in this car, and you know that he was going to drive himself up to the front of that race.
Absolutely,
like you just know he was. And it was going to be an excellent redemption of a storyline to
a bad day in Indy
situation that he found himself in earlier that day at the 500 with the weather there. So it's just all this, like, it was a roller. Well, just like the intro that you played, we like big buildups.
And we got a disappointing drop. No, that's it.
Disappointing drop.
And
over again that day.
That's the thing, because we were so fired up all week long. Man, Larson's going to run the double. Can't wait to see the Indy 500.
It's a shot to win both races.
Yeah. Didn't even talk about the Indy 500 and their rain delay issues and everything. What time they start the race? Like 5 o'clock, or no, it wasn't 5. It was like 4 o'clock, something like that.
3 or 4, something like that. It was a couple hours. Yeah.
So we put on NBC in the garage. We were watching a little bit of the IndyCar race around 6 o'clock. Larson had issues. He wasn't running too great. We're like, all right, let's throw the pre-race on. But like, we were still salvaging the day, you know, like, oh yeah, he's not going to run the double, but we still have the fucking Coke 600 to watch. We got 600 miles in Charlotte. He's going to be there eventually. Who knows what's going to happen as the temperature changes throughout the night. We're going to have comers and goers, issues on pit road. We saw some issues on pit road with fucking Denny Hamlin, Chris Buescher, and I think John Hunter Nemechek was in front of them. They were stacking each other up on pit road and stuff, where it's like we had all the makings. We had all the ingredients, and we had them separated, and we started mashing them together, and we go, fuck.
The kitchen's on fire.
The kitchen's on fire. We got to run out, you know? And it's like, man, just deflated.
Yeah. That's the other thing too, is like, we kind of knew the writing was on the wall for the Indy 500 since like Tuesday or Wednesday.
Yeah.
Like the weather looked atrocious. I think we all kind of knew that was really going to have an effect on their race. But like as it got closer to the weekend, the weather kept looking better and better and better for Concord, North Carolina.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, well, at least we're not going to have any issues for the Coke 600. And you know, and listen, it's nobody's fault. It's Mother Nature. There's nothing anybody can do
anything about it. Yeah.
But like, with the summer humidity and everything like that, I mean, we're going to see it again this summer, right? Where weather looks clear for a race and all of a sudden a pop-up hits the track and that's it. You know, it's going to happen again this year.
Yeah.
It happens every summer. There's nothing you can do about it. But that's the thing, is like, it's different when it's a race and you know by Wednesday, like, yo, weather looks shitty, like, don't get your hopes up. Where weather looked great, didn't see it coming until I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 hours before the race started. I think people started, saying, hey, look, the radar are going to have some trouble around 9 or 10 o'clock. And it just sucks, man. It sucks.
And that's the thing. It was a quick enough storm where everyone's like, yeah, we could get this started again. You know, it's a holiday weekend. We could race until 2:30 in the morning. I think everyone wanted it, you know. And I bet you NASCAR wanted it too. I listened to the morning drive this morning, though, with, I gave him my records a couple weeks ago. Vice President of Competition, Ellen Sawyer is on every Thursday or every Tuesday to talk about the race weekend. And he kind of flat out said, he goes, you know, we made the decision because we didn't want to have to finish the race at 3 in the morning, 2:30, 3 in the morning. For the track workers that have been there all day long, the police and EMS and all that shit that have been working all day long. And I completely understand that, like that's a lot.
I get that too. I do. But like if the competitors and the paying fans
are there
were hanging out, ready to go, well then why couldn't we? Why couldn't they just try? I don't know. Again, it's not my money. I wasn't there. But like,
And that's the thing. That's where I'm at too. Where I'm like,
racetracks affected by weather. Me personally, at least a dozen times in my life where I was at a racetrack and it was affected by weather, and it was like, I'm here. I'm in it for the long haul. I'll wait as long as I need to get this, even if it happens in the middle of the night. And it's just like, I don't know, man. Just this one was saltier than others for me, and it just sucks. And the fact that like a lot of people are blaming Fox too. And listen, I've never held hid my opinion on the Fox coverage. None of us have.
Yeah.
With NASCAR, it's fucking atrocious. It's embarrassing.
Yeah.
If I had anything to say about it, I'd rip that plug right out of the wall, and just walk away from that deal and find something else, because what they've done to our sport, for our sport, has been atrocious over the past 5 or 10 years. And so a lot of people are saying that Fox had a big thing to do with it. Like they had a hard network out at a certain point where they said, no, we're not doing
midnight,
this.
Midnight, we're done.
Forced NASCAR's hand. And I can see Elton Sawyer, hey, listen, they're our partner. They're paying the bills. We've got to save face and kind of,
it's also their last Coke 600. They're losing it to Amazon next year. I bet you there's some saltiness there. So, and that's the thing. But I just wish they would say that, though. I just wish they would say, like, give us confirmation. Like, yeah, NASCAR told us like 12 o'clock. That's the limit. And there was nothing we could do. Because
they kept us going.
Because that's what got me the angriest yesterday morning, was seeing people say like, "Oh, Fox pulled the plug," and even Christopher Bell himself said like, "I found out I won the race through Fox, and then I got the text message from NASCAR." So like. Again, did NASCAR pull the plug? I don't know. I'm not even going to speculate on it, because like it's become a whole big
feel good now. It's over. It doesn't.
It is what it is. And I just don't want to fire people up in case they didn't make the decision and it was NASCAR. So I'm taking NASCAR at their word. I'm taking, and honestly, I was real pissed off until I listened to the teardown yesterday, and Jordan Bianchi said like, no, I saw the track and it was way worse than it looked in any of those pictures and stuff.
Again, like I said, we weren't there. So like, we have to take his word for it. He's never given me a reason to not believe him, know, so.
He's not like, and this is no knock on Dave Moody, but he's not like a Dave Moody who works for MRN, who's owned by NASCAR and kind of has to toe the company line.
Bianchi has called out NASCAR
plenty
several times. He's not afraid. If he thought that it was an egregious call, he would say it.
And I thought it was funny too. Jeff Gluck on the teardown was just like we were, because he was in Indy covering the 500, and he was like, "What the fuck? Why didn't they get it going?" Like he was just as pissed because he wanted to see it happen too. So like, I take those guys at their word compared to some of the other NASCAR journalists out there. And again, no knock on Dave Moody or any of those guys. Honestly, like it's not. It's just like, all right, this is a guy I know tells it the way it is for the most part. So
right.
So that kind of helps soften the blow, and then it becomes deflating. You're like, man, that just sucks. Another
silver lining too is, I was drinking beer during the rain delay because I know that once I stop inside of 20 minutes, these eyes are going to be closed.
Oh,
so I was like, we still have a whole second half of a race. I got to keep it going.
The energy going.
Awake. And so I would have kept drinking. If we went back racing, we had another 2.5 hours of racing. I wouldn't be sitting here today,
honestly,
if the race went back green. So, maybe I'm softening my stance here a little bit because my life might have been spared.
Honestly, I had the same thought today. I wasn't thinking about it in the moment, but I'm like, if I woke up at 1:30 in the morning and the race was going on, I was definitely staying up to see the rest of it, and I was definitely cracking another beer. So like maybe NASCAR did us all a favor. I don't know, but it's still it just sucks. It just sucks. But there's still good things to talk about in the race weekend, and that's why I want to do the checkers and wreckers, because
3 wide for the lead. 1 lap to go.
It's this week's checkers and wreckers.
I'm giving my wreckers to Eric for being so hungover. No, I kid. What should we call it? Obviously,
I'm giving Eric my wreckers for whatever that was that he was wearing at the party.
Oh, we gotta describe Eric for the fans at the party. He was wearing this Blue Angels shirt that was ripped to shreds at the belly. And he says it all happened naturally. I don't know how it could have. He must have had a large belt buckle at some point, but he was wearing a belly shirt all day long and a pair of gym shorts that looked like 70s basketball shorts. You know what I mean? Where I flat out asked him, I go, "Are you wearing Dana's shorts right now?" His girlfriend Dana, because
I asked him to.
Yeah, because it looked like, and they were like a silvery blue color. I'm like, that's a pair of feminine shorts right there.
The one thing you need to know about Eric is like who you see on this podcast is exactly who he is. Like he is one of one in this world, and that's what he wanted to wear. So that's what he was wearing.
Yeah.
It's
honestly,
it's admirable.
Honestly, you get a toned down version of Eric on this podcast every week where he's like, I'm in the public eye and I need to, you know, keep the opinions
in just a little bit.
Just a little bit. But yeah. Well, when he's talking about getting banged up, he's getting banged up. You know?
Yeah.
But
that man goes hard. That's why he's not here.
Is the man 2 days 2-day hangovers. You know what that happens in your 30s though too.
It sure does.
And it happens quick. It happens hard. Before the show, me and Matt were talking about how we don't think we could close down a bar the way we used to. I don't think I could be in a bar past midnight anymore.
You always hear with like, okay, we're a sports podcast. You always hear, you know, these athletes, these drivers, whoever it might be, towards the end of their career, they have a real hard time acknowledging that it's over, that their prime has passed them, and that maybe it's time to hang it up. And you know, it's that struggle of I still got it in me, but I don't have it like I used to.
Sometimes
and that's
you gotta let that coyote out.
That's us with our drinking days, man. Like we don't have it like we used to.
No.
Man, we were weekend warriors for a decade and a half. We really had fun, and now it's getting harder and harder.
And you want to know what? It kind of all happened for me at 30, where like
30 was the turning point for me.
Because you guys are a little younger. And when I turned, I think 31, I started doing more at the radio station, which is a second job. So I was just tired throughout the week. I'm like, yeah, maybe this Friday I won't go out. Maybe this Saturday I won't go out. And then I started going out like every other weekend, and then became once a weekend. And now it's once every couple months. You got to let that dog out, you know? Breaking news. Oh, yeah?
Not as big as the Stewart Haas Racing.
Should I get the music?
Nah. Luke Combs will be the guest on the Dale Jr. Download this week.
Oh, you want to know what?
I think that's a fun guest.
I think that is a fun guest. I'm looking forward to that. I really enjoy when he has non-NASCAR people, because it kind of flexes his interview skills a little bit too.
Yep.
For sure. I don't know if you listened to the one with the Bussin' with the Boys last week, but it was a really good one.
Fantastic. Those guys are great. I follow them on Twitter too, because the whole Barstool connection. Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah.
And then Luke Combs, I really respect that guy's music, man. He's a really talented musician. Yep. So, yeah. All right. Nice. I
got our friend of the show, Justin Pierce, just texted me, told me that. So I thought, hey, NASCAR related news.
There you go.
We're all over the place today. I'm not going to apologize for being all over the place.
Tuesday show.
Bear with us. We're getting to the end here.
Yeah.
Just hang in there.
I mean, we just got to go through the checkers and wreckers and a little bit of the race, and we're good. But yeah, I mean, we're an hour in. We're hungover still a little bit, you know. It's a Tuesday show. Eric's not here. That throws off the vibe for me too, with like the rhythm of the show. That's why I'm like bouncing back and forth like crazy. Anyways, we got some checkers and wreckers. Matt, you wanted me to give mine first?
Sure.
All right, I'm going to go with my wreckers. Obviously the weather, but also Ryan Blaney. He had just finished his pit stop and either cut a tire or the rim snapped. I don't know what the hell happened. Smashed the wall, and it ended his day. In fact, they couldn't even get the car off pit road. They had to throw a caution to bring out the tow truck so they could tow the car off pit road. Just unfortunate for the defending Coke 600 champion to go out like that. He didn't have a great car to begin with, but they were working on it. It just sucks. Just sucks for Blaney. And then my checkers, I got to give it to Justin Allgaier, man. Just did a phenomenal job wheeling that 5 car for Larson. He drove his ass off in the first stage to get on the lead lap and then stay on the lead lap. Drove through the field to get his lap back, which I thought was absolutely amazing. Some of those maneuvers he was making that first stage were absolutely insane too. And then I heard some quotes where he's like, yeah, I had to kind of like relax a little bit because I didn't want to crack up the car for him. You know, I wanted to deliver it in one piece. But he said that car was amazing. Drove it to a 13th place finish. Would have put Larson in a prime position to jump in, especially with that weather caution. It would have been perfect timing for them to make the drivers swap too. Yeah. Just a missed opportunity. Unfortunate we never got racing again. but definitely got to give props to Justin Allgaier. I want to say that's probably his best Cup Series finish, right? Because he had a run. He had a run in the Cup Series and some back markers back in the day. Definitely his best finish in the next gen car. I think he made one start last year in a Spire car when Corey LaJoie was filling in for the 9, I think. But I can't remember for sure.
I got him right here. His best finish. He has one top 10 in his career.
Okay. All right.
So he has one top 10 in his career.
Not his best finish. Definitely his best finish in the next gen era, though. And put his somewhat teammate, because, Junior Motorsports has that connection with Hendrick, to put Kyle Larson in a prime position to win the Coke 600. And, man, that would have been a great storyline, too. Justin Allgaier getting his first Cup Series win with Larson behind the wheel and finishing. Like, that could have been just a neat little thing, just got robbed. We got robbed on Sunday night, but still great racing, what we did see. So can't shit on that. But
we have more breaking news.
Yeah.
From Justin Pierce. It's like he's our reporter. He's like our Jamie Little over here.
Yeah.
Haley Deegan will be getting a crew chief change.
Oh, okay. Like this weekend?
That's all I know. That's all I know.
Okay,
yep.
I'm assuming it's a mid-season crew chief change. So yeah, all right. Well, if you're a Haley Deegan fan, hopefully that gets her a little bit better cars in the Xfinity Series there too. She's been struggling too. I haven't honestly been paying attention to the Xfinity Series too much though. So.
Yeah, it's the Craftsman Truck Series and the Cup Series. Honestly, if they keep pulling their shit in the Cup Series, it might just be the Craftsman Truck Series and the Xfinity Series.
Yeah.
Saturdays are, but we've talked about this in the past. So Saturdays are busy for us, especially now that the weather's nice out.
Oh, yeah, because, you got to do yard work, all that stuff,
Just life, yeah.
But how about you, Matt? What's your checkers and wreckers? I know you're having a...
Yeah, so my... been very self-involved this episode. That it is what it is. There's two of us. You're more or less like in on like a private conversation that me and Whitey are having about NASCAR today. So that's more or less what this pod is like. If this is your first ever Bumper Run podcast, I promise you the show usually has more structure to it.
I kind of liking the lack of structure too, though. I'm loving the vibe today, I think.
True. I am too. We're just having an extended conversation between two buddies. But again, self-involved. My checkers goes to just the fact that I was able to break away from reality for a couple hours and watch the race with the boys. I think our lives are all again very busy, and it's hard for me to break away. Got my own family thing going, which I absolutely love and all that. But every once in a while, I get the opportunity to do that. And, I appreciate those moments. So it was good to see the boys, good to be able to watch some NASCAR racing with you guys. Next opportunity will be Pocono probably. And yeah, just looking forward to that already. And just, yeah, that's my checkers. Again, self-involved. I apologized. But that was my checkers.
I agree. I don't make it out with the boys much these days either. Just life's busy.
We got life going on. Like I just said, you got to learn when to.
Oh yeah.
You got to learn when to hold them and learn when to fold them.
And I don't know if we mentioned it on air, but I was supposed to leave with Matt at the halfway point and take the shared Uber. I did. And just being with the boys, man, you don't want to leave,
Yeah.
And
it was like I can only relate it to being a kid at Toys R Us. And your parents are like, okay, it's time to leave. And you're like, no, you're getting dragged out of there because you just don't want to leave this magical place. Yeah, it was kind of like, oh, man, like, I gotta go home. Like, can't I just stay a little longer?
But there's beers to drink, and there's a keg, and it's flowing, and it's cold and crisp and refreshing. Did you have one of those keg beers?
Yeah.
How good were those keg beers, man?
It's been a while since I've had keg beer because you know what? It's been a while since I've had keg beer. Yeah, forgot how good it is.
Eric had that CO2 turned up too, so it was extra carbonated, extra bubbly. I enjoyed it. The head on was about this big, but man, it stayed cold and fresh. Also, still like stumbling over words because I drank too much this weekend, though. And that's why we can only get out with the boys every once in a while. The hangovers last 2 days. Yeah. How about your records? What's your records for the weekend?
It's simple. The weather, just all of it. We already talked about it, so we don't need to go back into it. But again, just kind of, I don't know. I guess maybe the half-assed effort that NASCAR and Fox gave to get us back racing. Like I said before, there were reports from fans there that said that they never even released the jet dryers out there, which would be why Bianchi is saying that the track isn't dry enough. And I don't know. Again, I wasn't there. I don't know what the whole details were, so I'm going to try to reserve a lot of my opinions, but it's just upsetting. That's it. I mean, I don't want to be a broken record, even though I already am about this, but yeah.
That's the thing too. Like, we weren't personally there, so we're going by like secondhand accounts from Twitter accounts, NASCAR radio callers. But I did hear so one caller called in. He said it was the weirdest way they ever tried to dry the track, where they sent the track dryers down pit road first, which usually doesn't happen, and then they did like couple passes, maybe like 4 or 5 passes.
Like they knew.
And then parked them.
That's why my frustration is where it's at. It's because everything that you're hearing from reports is like, yeah, they like gave it an effort. So what? They can when they broke into the booth to give you an update, you can hear
and you can see the video of it. Yeah,
they're not really doing anything. Like, it's almost like they knew they were never going back racing, and they just strung us along the whole time. Which, if that's the case, like, I got a real problem with that.
And then whatchamacallit, the one damning piece of evidence too that I saw was from a 2311 engineer, JR Houston. I follow him on Twitter. He asked, he goes, did they ever put the track dryers out? And he was there, I think. At least he is usually there most weekends, maybe because it was Charlotte who's at like the home base or whatever. But then a lot of fans were like saying like, no, they were just sitting in turn 1 and they didn't like go anywhere. But so
Bianchi said that too, that there was something going on in turn 1 that they looked like all their attention was at too. So like, I don't know. It all seems like
it just seems weird. It's weird, you know.
It's different with me. I mean, again, it is what it is. We're on to Gateway, but
it's hard. It's one of those ones where it's like, I feel
lied to.
Yeah, I feel kind of. And I went through the 5 stages of grief yesterday and today. I was texting you that earlier, but it's true. Like, I started all like real fucking angry, and then like the more I read, I got angrier, and then like, oh well, this kind of makes sense. And I listened to this guy's account, and like, you know, and then you start kind of like, yeah, it just sucks. You get sad, and then I've accepted it at this point, but it still doesn't sit right either. Where it's like, man, like we just got fucking robbed. You know, we got robbed. We had a great undercard, and then they canceled the rest of the main event on us. You know, and
great analogy. It really is. It's just
right. But again, we're on to Gateway. It just sucks, you know. I'm not excited for next week because of it already. Where it's like, yeah, all right, whatever. Now it's another race. It's not a race to look forward to. I'm looking forward to Pocono. That's it. I have my sights set on Pocono to get excited about.
Pocono. I can't wait for Pocono. I don't even know what to expect. What did I give? I guess we could just, unless you have anything else from Charlotte.
Other than I thought William Byron had a really good run. Chris.
I just looked to see what my grade was from Iowa from last year.
Yeah.
I gave it an incomplete because of a lightning delay.
Oh, did it? Oh, geez.
Jesus Christ, dude.
Oh, at Gateway? Did it end under?
I guess. I don't remember, but that's what I have in my notes. I gave it an I.
Yeah.
What did I give in 2022? Gateway, a B+, no weather. So maybe we'll see a good race. I don't know.
I hope so. Well, I know last year, I know something that will be interesting for Gateway, brakes. I was listening to Chase Briscoe on the morning drive this morning. He was talking about how they're working on different brake packages to bring here, because we did see a lot of rotors explode because of those long straightaways and stuff. He also said that the turns were really interesting because one turn is like almost like Martinsville tight, and then the other turn is a big sweeping turn, kind of like Indy, I guess. I think that's what he described it as. But that should be a really interesting setup wise. See who nails the setup and stuff. So
we've got some interesting tracks coming up. I mean, outside of Sonoma in 2 weeks, we've got Gateway, which has the potential to be good. Iowa Speedway is new for the Cup Series, so we'll see. New Hampshire has put on a pretty decent product.
Pretty good the last couple of years, yeah.
Nashville Super Speedway is 1.5 miles, so that's going to be fun. I think the first 2 Nashville races were like A+.
Yeah.
And then by then you're into July. It's the Chicago Street Race. It's Pocono. It's Indy back on the oval. So like we've got a hell of a stretch coming up here.
And I believe right before Nashville we have NBC returning too. So
yes, that's another important thing.
So that's another big piece too. We get
Iowa. Yeah, Iowa is the
first NBC.
It's on USA. Iowa, New Hampshire. Yep.
All right. So we have what? 2 races to go
left for Fox. Yeah,
I like it. That's something to look forward to right there.
It always is. Yeah.
But William Byron, he had a great run. He led 5 times for 49 laps. Ty Gibbs had a really good run. He led 4 times for 74 laps. Really impressed by Ty Gibbs recently. We've been talking about it for months now. But
it's coming, man. That win is coming for the 54.
And you want to know what? He just I saw a quote where he says he's really enjoying like learning and everything. So he's definitely putting in some effort. And then we had a handful of guys lead 10 laps here. Ross Chastain led once for 10. Josh Berry led once for 7 laps. Of course, those were all during like green flag stops. But Tyler Reddick had a great car. He cut up through the field. Brad Keselowski had a fantastic car, finished second. Wouldn't be surprised if he gets another win in the next few weeks too. Maybe Nashville, that'd be exciting. Denny Hamlin, he was having pit road troubles with his pit box and stuff, but still running really great. Chase Elliott finished 7th. Ross Chastain finished 8th. Alex Bowman 9th. And Josh Berry rounding out the top 10. Bubba Wallace had some really great flashes in both stage 1 and stage 2. He finished 11th. But I thought he had a pretty strong car. And I was looking forward to seeing what he could have done. Martin Truex Jr. had a pretty good day. He finished 12th. Justin Allgaier 13th. I think that's really, I feel like that's about it. And then here on the Bump and Run podcast, everyone loves to talk about the winner, one Christopher Bell, who was the lap leader with 90 laps of the race. JJ Yeley, though, coming in last. Here on the Bump and Run podcast. See, I can't even say it. Can't even say that right on a Tuesday without Eric. The whole flow is all messed up. But here on the Bump and Run podcast, everyone loves to talk about the winner, one Christopher Bell. But we also like to talk about the guy who lost, who was the loser, number 1, or the last place. I can't even fucking get through it. Anyways, it was JJ Yeley. He had some steering issues on lap 144. He had a really cool paint scheme, though, in that 44 car. It was a tribute to, I can't say it right. It's like the Tuskegee Airmen. Is that?
Sure.
Yeah,
that sounds, yeah.
But yeah, it was a really cool looking airplane paint scheme. And then we are on to, like we said, Gateway.
Marty, you gotta come back with me. Where?
The next NASCAR Cup race. It's the weekend preview.
Actually, we're in 2 different towns at the same time on Saturday because we're heading to Gateway and Portland International Raceway. Saturday, trucks on track, 1:30 on FS1 for the Toyota 200 at Gateway. And then the Xfinity Series takes the road course in Portland. 4:30 on FS1 for the Pacific Office Automation 147. And that's been a really good race the last couple of years. So definitely want to check out. And then Cup on track Sunday, 3:30 on FS1 for the Enjoy Illinois 300. And if you couldn't tell by the title of the race, that one is at Gateway as well. To go over our picks from this past week, let's see. Eric, he picked Chase Elliott. Chase got him 34 points, so he will pick first. I picked Denny Hamlin to win. He got me 39 points. And then, Matt, you picked Brad Keselowski. He got you 44 points. So Eric picks first. I pick second. Matt picks last. Eric texted us his pick for the and it is the 17 car of Chris Buescher. I like that he was radio silent all the way up until about 15 minutes before the show started. And we're like, you don't have to do the show this week, bud. Just give us your pick. And he's probably back in bed already. But yeah, he's picking the 17 car. I think that's a great pick. I am going to, man, I don't even know who's good at Gateway.
I have a person in mind, if you don't take them, that I haven't taken once this year.
Let's see.
We'll just say that. I'm sure that tips the hand a little bit, but
it doesn't at all for me. Let's see. I'm going to go by pure instincts right now. It's not a short track though. That's the thing. I want to pick like a guy who's usually good at short tracks. I'm going to say, I don't even know, dude. I want to say Christopher Bell right now, but I don't think he's going to go back to back. You know, I'm trying to think of a guy who's probably pretty good at Pocono that isn't Denny Hamlin, because I just picked Denny Hamlin. Just because it's a weird shaped track and you have to set your car up for two different types of turns, long straightaways. I'm just in that kind of mindset. I'm going to go, you want to fuck it. Eric picked the 17 car. I'm keeping it in the family. I'm picking the 6. Give me Brad Keselowski.
I'm also keeping it in the family. I'm keeping it in the Ford family.
Yeah.
Something, I don't know if it's because I have an Austin Cindric Xfinity Series diecast staring me in the face over here on the shelf right in front of me.
Yeah.
But it's the 22 car, man. I'm taking Joey Logano. Just got a feeling. I don't know if it's because he won the All-Star race 2 weeks ago.
He also won the inaugural race here, too.
Starting to come along now.
I'm pretty sure. He won this race 2 years ago, because I was actually thinking about picking Joey Logano, too, and I just couldn't bring myself to do it.
I haven't picked it yet, so I figured whatever. You know, he's probably going to screw me. He's probably going to. It's Joey, but yeah, I'm taking Joey.
You never know though, because you want to with those long straightaways, you're going to be doing a little drafting, and that seems to be what the Ford body style has been good at the last couple of years. So I could see it being a very good pick. We're all picking Fords, so probably Hendrick's going to win. It's going to be William Byron.
William Byron's going to win this race.
But we'll find out this weekend. We are 14 races into the 2024 season. We have 8 different winners. William Byron, Daniel Suarez, Kyle Larson, Christopher Bell, Denny Hamlin, Chase Elliott, Tyler Reddick, and Brad Keselowski all have them locked into the playoffs. Will Joey Logano get his first win of the season? Will Chris Buescher get his first win of the season? Or will Brad Keselowski get his second win in just a couple of weeks now? If you go back and look at Brad Keselowski's stats, he's finished second in a lot of races recently, including this past weekend. But we'll find out what happens this Sunday, 4:30 on FS1. This Sunday, 3:30 on FS1. For the Enjoy Illinois 300 at Gateway, and we'll break it all down for you right here on the Bumper Run podcast next Monday night, and hopefully Eric is recovered by then. For Matt the Statman Reilly, for Eric Daytona Ron, I'm Michael D. White saying have a good night. The Bumper Run!
There it is.